he's going to bring the water. There's some, I think, in that bucket over there. You must be the first.
Working, digging the holes, planting willows and cottonwoods and things like that was a great feeling to get out and give back to the river and help our community with things like that. Being outside, I love being outside, period, but being able to help like that was really cool. Just the essence that the area of the river had was something that you could not experience anywhere else but there.
What I knew before this residency about the river was pretty much nothing. I knew that it was in the valley, and I knew kind of where it was, but that was about it. I didn't realize that it needed restoration. I figured it was fine. I didn't really know that, like the history behind it.
And then the upper areas were used for irrigated agriculture. So farming was done here first. Animals were pastured in this bottom land then. We began this process of restoration from old overgrazed cattle pastures. We started planting willows and cottonwoods and a variety of trees and shrubs. These willows you can see between the houses here were planted only 6 or 7 years ago. This will be a wonderful 120-acre nature park, a park for animals, not people. So what you're participating in is the restoration process, planting the habitat to attract mainly birds, migratory birds that are coming here. And those birds need the large trees the little trees you can see in the background.
And what I've learned about it, I learned the history about it, and I didn't realize restoration work needed so much effort. I just figured, you go pick up the trash, maybe clean up the water, and you're good. But there's a lot more to it, and I feel better about myself that I helped the river. I feel like I helped the community a little bit.
What did I know before the project started? Well, essentially, I didn't even know there was a river, but now I learned that the river, ecologically, it's dead, and that kind of came as a surprise to me. But I learned a lot about it, about the tributary creeks that run into the river and watersheds.
The basic knowledge I have about this river before we started was close to nothing. I didn't even know where the river was, honestly. And I knew there was a river somewhere, but I didn't know that it was in trouble like it is. And what I've learned throughout this residency is that restoration is hard work. It takes some time, but I think what we have done, I think we've really helped out the river a lot.
I didn't know what it really held, what it could mean to people and to a community and everything like that. So it was interesting to get into it and learn about, everything that surrounds the river and what lives in the river and, what it holds, basically. What we started doing with restoration was interesting, the classwork and learning about everything, but what I really liked doing was the physical labor outside and digging and planting trees and, removing invasive species and things like that. I like working outside, and it was nice to connect with the river in that way. And I feel now that I've done that, there's a small connection between the river and I that had become greater, and I really liked working outside, and it was cool to get to see that area and be a part of it. So thank you for that.
You're seeing the beginning of a really wonderful ecological success story of restoration. Unfortunately, we don't have too many areas this size in Salt Lake, and then it's the northern part of the county, but there are large areas left here along the Jordan River in the south part.
After that came my most favorite part of the whole thing was I was provided with a camera, and I got to go and wander and take photos of all the beauty of the river. Even in its state now, it is still a very beautiful river, and I felt just so happy to be able to see all of it, and I got some really great pictures, I feel, at least, and I loved it. The photos I really liked, some of them are on the wall behind me. I took a photo of a bird sitting in a tree as kind of a back shadow, and it looked really awesome. I just felt like it was his home. He knew where he was.
I guess how I changed was I started to see beauty in like the simple things, because even though it wasn't like this huge forest, it was still beautiful, and the fact that it's being restored, that's a beautiful idea.
Why did we actually try to work on the river? If you look at the river and learn about it, you can see that the reason we think it's all gross is because we made it that way. Letting nature take its course doesn't really work when civilization is taking over nature. So someone had to do something.
So why were we asked to help the river, and why didn't we just let it fix itself? Because nature probably could fix a majority of the things that we did wrong to it eventually. But if we wanted this river to if we wanted to see progress within even a century, or some things not for a couple centuries, some of the things wouldn't have degraded into something nature could use. If we wanted to see the river get fixed in any sort of way at all, we would have to take an active part in the restoration of the river.
I think that we were asked because the future of the river is really going to affect our future as well. So how the river turns out later on, it's really going to like affect how we live and the things in our life.
You see this little trail trumped in the grass? That's where the deer go. You see that little trail? A deer trail.
Not gonna be able to go through there anymore. It's like an obstacle course. Yeah, they can jump it, they can go around it. Hey, service key. Thanks. I thought I'd do my little like pose with the. You have that little leg thing you do every time you pose. Shut up! I can't help it.